guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Glam Preezy. If you are new here, hey girl, hey, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are interested in this topic, please subscribe to my channel, join my family, as we will be talking a lot about uterus health, women's health, and beauty, all the things, okay? So definitely subscribe to the channel. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, you already know what we're gonna be discussing today, okay? Before we do start the video, I do want to let you guys know straight out the gate, if you are new here, I am not a medical professional. I am simply advocating on behalf of women everywhere who are experiencing the same things as me, and more so being vocal about my story in hopes that it will encourage you guys to go out and do more research on the things that we are using in our bodies, on our bodies, and more importantly, the choices that we are making in regards to our uterine and female health decisions, okay? The opinions in this video are my own. This is my own journey. This is my own story. And by no means is this meant to be a anti-birth control type of video, okay? I am simply stating my own journey and my own experiences and opinions with birth control to this point, okay? Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the video. Okay, ladies, welcome into the video. Take a seat, make yourself comfortable, okay? Because we about to get all up in my business, all right? So if you are watching this video, I am sure that you have seen my video about how I shrank my fibroids. I'm going to list that video right here if there's any chance that you have not seen that video yet. I think it's important for you to watch that video so you can get a little bit more context on what's going on with me. So in that video, I mentioned that I got off birth control. What I didn't mention in that video is that I have been on birth control my entire life. Well, at least since I was 15 years old. I was always gonna do a video on this topic, but I did poll you guys to see what you wanted to see, and an overwhelming amount of you guys said that you wanted a video on why I got off birth control. So here we are. If you see me at any time looking down, sometimes I take notes to make sure I keep myself on track because I am known to ramble. I started off birth control out the gate with Depo when I was 15 years old. I'm not going to go too much in depth about my history with birth control because I did another video, a more story time formatted video about my history with birth control, whatever. So started out with Depo at 15 and I was on Depo for ages, okay? Then I went to the NuvaRing and then I was on the NuvaRing for quite a long time as well. And then after that, I got on the IUD. What I also did not say in that video was the fact that I actually found out that I had fibroids the first time because I was going to get my IUD replaced with a new one. So I went to get my IUD replaced with a new one and they literally could not find it. Yeah. Long story short, I had developed fibroids and the fibroids had displaced the IUD and they could not remove it normally. It is also important for me to mention that I ended up on the IUD because I had become severely anemic. How my doctor will put it, really needed a safeguard against heavy bleeding every month. I didn't have any knowledge of the effects of birth control on the body. I really did not. Like, I literally was listening to my OB my whole life. I never objected anything for the most part. I always trusted the doctors and I just went with what they said. Especially starting birth control at 15, you listen to what your mama say and what the doctor say, and that's it. And you don't want to get pregnant. So, you know, you're not aware that you should be doing research on what you're putting in your body at that age. Like, you just like, oh, I don't want to get pregnant. And that's the mind frame that you have. That's it. So moving on, as I gotten older, I developed other medical issues which put me in a position to be a good candidate to use birth control as a means to control those symptoms. And at this time, that was anemia. So they put me on the IUD because of that. And I was like, great, I don't have to worry about it, whatever. Now, it is also very important to mention that I did have symptoms from all of the birth control that I used in the past, namely depression, PMDD. I had developed a very bad case of depression many times in my life, and a lot of emotional issues, you guys. And it's not until I got fibroids and I started this whole journey of really understanding what I had been doing to contribute to me getting into that position in the first place, not until then that I realized it's probably the birth control. So it didn't occur to me. I also experienced migraines. I was very lethargic in general. And I'm laughing because I was just a mess. I was just a mess. I don't think there had been any time in my life as a woman up until the last few years that I really felt normal. So I have migraines, I'm having depression issues, PMDD, my PMS was crazy. However, I didn't get periods. I never really experienced bleeds unless I was off of the birth control, okay? Or in between those times when, you know, your birth control is switching out or what have you. I started my period around 12 and my period was not heavy. It was not terrible. I did not get cramps, was not heavy. I didn't have breast tenderness, none of that stuff. Like, I just bled for like 4 days, and it was over. It was easy. My periods after starting birth control were crazy. They were very heavy and a little rocky, okay? So that is kind of one of the reasons why the doctor wanted to make sure that any birth control that I was on was controlling this bleeding, okay? At no time ever in the history of my life did any doctor talk to me about balancing my hormones or getting to the root cause of the heavy bleeding or anything like that. I do also want to mention that there are plenty of women that go on birth control and they're just fine. They don't have any of these issues. It doesn't affect their life in a huge way and they are great. But for many of us, there are lots of other things that go on. And so I got the laparoscopic myomectomy in 2019 to remove my fibroids initially. And I'm thinking, wow, my life's gonna be better, everything's gonna be great. They removed the IUD during surgery. Everything went well, whatever. During recovery though, I did have 6 weeks at home recovering and I wanted to do a lot of research. This is the beginning. This is when I first started to really delve into hormone balance, finding out about estrogen dominance and all of these other things. You know, during this time, I really thank God that I had that downtime to research, because when I went back for the follow-up, the doctor was certainly pressuring me to get right back on birth control. That's the first red flag. They were pressuring me to get back on birth control. And I was like, you know what? This is the first time that I have not been on birth control in my entire life. And I would like to just take a moment to become one with my body, first of all, and do some more research on some of these options that y'all are throwing at me, okay? So during this time, when I elected to take a pause, and I want you to know, out of anything in this video, if you ever question anything that the doctor is wanting to put you on, please tell them, if it's not dire and life and death in that moment, please elect to take some time to do your own research. So I went back home, did a ton of research, and I found some nasty facts about birth control. The number one thing that I discovered that really piqued my interest is this pattern of doctors basically using birth control as a band-aid to manage our symptoms from all of these bigger issues, especially to manage hormonal imbalance in women. That's when I started to think to myself, oh no, this could be way bigger than I thought. I'm going to just say it. And I want you to know that this is in fact my own opinion, and there is no known medical research that I'm aware of that links birth control to fibroids. But there is nothing that you can tell me that will convince me that birth control, that prolonged use of birth control, did not disrupt my hormones to the point that I got estrogen dominance which caused me to now have fibroids and issues with a fibroid uterus. There is nothing you can tell me. I am absolutely convinced that that is one of the greatest contributing factors to why I have been in such hormonal turmoil. So that is my opinion. I'm not putting that out there for anybody to jump on that bandwagon, but it is important for me to voice my opinion during these videos because obviously this is my journey. And through the research that I have done, it is very apparent that my doctors have literally used birth control and have just prescribed me birth control like candy and have neglected to educate me and have neglected to help me and help guide me towards the root cause of my issues. So now we're going to talk about some more things about birth control that I found out through my research. It is very important for me to mention again that I am not a medical professional, and the aim of this video, I already told you, is to really just create some more conversation and exploration around birth control and giving you that little seed to plant for when it's time for you to decide what's best for your body in terms of birth control, okay? Just do your research. Now, I'm going to talk about things that we know birth control can cause and that the FDA and other medical governing bodies will agree with and will attest to when it comes to birth control. Number one, it does put you at risk for cancer. You are 30% more likely to develop breast cancer, cervical cancer, liver, and certain types of uterine cancers while using birth control. That they will admit, that they will attest to. Because there are a lot of things that have been found that they will not put their stamp of approval on. And I can understand that, but I also really understand that. It can cause strokes and blood clots. It also can cause gallbladder issues and gallbladder disease. It can be the cause of decreased libido. It also depletes your body of certain nutrients and minerals such as selenium, zinc, tyrosine, which you need for healthy thyroid functioning, B6, B12, folate. Due to this, it can cause an imbalance of immune function. It can also contribute to migraines, weight gain, and high blood pressure. Now, before I move on to the other things that I found out, I want to let you know that these are indeed reasons why I chose not to get back on birth control. Let's mention some things that are not widely talked about and are also reasons why I chose not to get back on birth control, post-birth control syndrome, which I did experience. And in the midst of experiencing that, my hormones basically going haywire, I was unknowingly developing fibroids. My period from 2019 to now is still not regular per se, but it's still kind of catching its own wave. It's not all the way there. It's way closer to normal than I could have gotten without supplementation and doing all of this research, but it's still trying to figure its way out. It causes hormone imbalance, okay? And this we know, I just kind of talked about that, and that is a major reason why I will not get back on it. Another problem is that it causes gut issues and an imbalance in your gut microbiome. That actually is really underrated and very important. I think I'm going to do another video about that as well, because the gut is the center. Very important, and it is integral to good hormone function, especially when we're talking about how your body eliminates, okay? So we're not going to go all the way on a tangent, but I just want to put that in your ear. It may cause adrenal fatigue. It can cause fatigue, anxiety, depression, all these different things. If you want a video about adrenal fatigue, we could talk about that, because I also went through and sometimes still go through adrenal fatigue. So after finding out some of these facts, I'm not gonna lie, I was disgusted and in general just in shock that a lot of this stuff is very well-known information but was not made aware to me at any time that these drugs were being suggested to me or prescribed to me by my doctor. And I know that they give you that pamphlet sometimes, but when you're 15, 16, 17, shoot, even 20, 21, 22, you're not gonna read an entire pamphlet full of medical disclosures if your doctor puts their seal of approval on it. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of blindly trust the medical professional because, shoot, I'm young, I just don't want to get pregnant. That's all you're thinking. You're not thinking, let me take this home and do my research on it first. I'm sorry, I don't want this video to be like, you know, dumping on the idea of birth control, because shout out to birth control. We are all in a different world, okay? So please don't misunderstand. Again, this is not anti-birth control. This is me having a revelation at 37 that my being on birth control my whole life could have very well contributed to the state that I'm in right now. You know, I gotta be honest, birth control really did help my life. As I'm sure it helped a lot of our lives, and the invention of it revolutionized the way that women showed up in this world. It can most certainly be a good tool, especially when there is seemingly no other choice but to prescribe someone this to help their quality of life. I do understand that very, very much. But when we can really just get to the root cause, when we could really just doctor the way we're supposed to doctor when you go to the doctor, instead of them saying, oh, here goes this pill. You know what I mean? That's where the issue is. I do want to drop right here Dr. Jolene Brighten's information. Again, I sing her praises. I absolutely love her and her content, her information, her books. I'm also going to recommend that you buy this book, Beyond the Pill. I'm going to put that down here for you guys as a resource, because I always encourage you to do your research, dig in, do the work, find the information. Yes, absolutely, I want you to take from my experience and my journey, but I also want to prompt you to begin on your own journey of educating yourself about what you have been putting in your body, or what you are choosing to suggest to your daughter, or what have you. That's all. According to functional medicine doctors, and namely Dr. Jolene Brighten, I've seen her be one of the leading functional medicine doctors talking about this subject. Something called PBCS, and that's post-birth control syndrome. And I will do a totally separate video on this, but these are a wide array of symptoms, in fact, that one might experience when withdrawing from birth control. So when doing research about that, I did find that it can take the body such a long time to re-regulate itself from birth control, mainly because of the main function of birth control, and without which it wouldn't work. These synthetic hormones in birth control literally shut down your natural hormonal production and is replaced with the synthetic hormones. Okay, and imagine if you have been on birth control since you were 15 and now you're 37. How haywire your body is about to go. Yeah, maybe for some people you might get off of it and be like good and amazing, but for a lot of women, you get off of it and you're like left with so many other issues that you don't even realize have come from your use of birth control. And you know what happens is you go to the doctor, speaking from my own experience, and they prescribe you birth control to manage the symptoms. It's actually hilarious and a little maddening at the same time, because it's like, are y'all serious right now? Like, you're joking, right? And those are just some of the reasons and things that I ended up finding out once I commenced my research on birth control. So in closing, I just want to mention again, I do know the benefits. There are many benefits to birth control, but just because we have the ability to choose birth control as an option, it does not mean that we should not be educated on what is in them and how that is going to affect our bodies. Because if we knew that, we might make a different decision. Sometimes the benefits outweigh the risk for some people. Another thing that I do want to mention that is factual, don't let anybody else tell you different. There isn't enough research on prolonged use of birth control that can tell us that it's safe to be on birth control from 15 to 40. There's just not enough. You do your own research on that. I'm gonna leave that right there. As long as we've had birth control since what, the 1960s, and there are millions of women choosing to be on birth control, I'll bet that most of those women have no idea what the effects of birth control can be on the body. I don't want this to be some type of video where, you know, because I can hear people right now in the comments telling me blah, 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 blah about birth control. It was my choice, and I encourage you to make your own choice based on your own research and what feels good to your soul and your spirit when choosing. The main point of this video, again, I'm gonna try to drive it through, is just to be the prompt for you to do your own research so that you can make empowered choices and educated decisions about your health. Because if I had known that hormonal birth control contributes to fibroid growth, I probably wouldn't have chosen that route. And nowadays, the girls are so blessed that we have period apps to help you track your periods and things of that nature. Instead of just blindly prescribing us birth control and giving us birth control, how about helping educate us on how your period works? You know what I mean? I can say for myself, for certain, when I was younger, I had absolutely no real idea about a menstrual cycle. I really didn't. I just knew about my period. I didn't know about the different phases of it. I didn't know jack. I didn't know nothing, okay? So as a grown woman, it's almost shameful to just now be learning the ins and outs of my body. And again, this is one of the reasons why I'm putting these videos out, because my journey is not just my own. It's a lot of women's journey. So again, I'm saying that to say that a period app, has educated me on my cycle so very much, and it has prepared me throughout the month for what to expect next. And I'm a big believer in manifesting things, and I'm going to put this out there. I very much hope to be partnering with a period tracker app to present to you guys to make your life more easy and to educate you more on your own cycles in the future. So we're going to put that out there. God willing, it's going to happen. With all of that being said, I'm going to close the video right here. I hope this was eye-opening information for you, and I hope that my journey has resonated with you in some way. I love you guys, and I really do feel deeply passionate about advocating for women's health. It is a cause that is very, very dear to me, and I really hope that you join me here on this journey. Please join my channel by subscribing, support this video by thumbsing up. Please share your experience with birth control in the comments. It's very important because I find that through the comments we create community and we find others going through our same struggle. Until the next video, you guys, I wish you all the best on your journey. It is July, it is Fibroid Awareness Month, and I'm going off all month. Mwah. I love you guys. See you soon.